We do have a few rules. One rule is here today, if you're going to record any video, we just want your segments to be pretty short, no longer than 30 seconds for whatever area we're in at that time, because if you put the whole tour online, then I might be out of a job. Okay, now, as far I'm John, I'll be your tour guide. Also, Monty will be with us. Here today, we might run into some players or personnel, people you might recognize. If this does occur, you can say hi to them and take a photo of them, but we do ask that you don't, run over and force a selfie with them unless you're amazingly cute like yourself. Also, again, like no autographs, no selfies, stuff of that nature. Now, again, if they come over to you and give you an autograph, definitely take it. And then also here today, we're not going to get a chance to go onto the field due to the fact that it's been raining, but we will get into the team dugout, and you can go up to the top of the stairs and take photos from up there. But we're just going to stay off the field mainly so that we don't track dirt throughout the stadium. All right, and those are basically our rules here today, okay? So where's everybody from?
Tennessee.
Tennessee. Yeah. All right, what part?
Knoxville.
All right. I was raised in Nashville, so 2.5 hours away.
Very close, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I've been up to Knoxville a few times, but let's see. From that area, I guess you would probably have gone with the Braves, maybe, right?
I'm a Braves fan.
Yeah, that's right.
So this place broke my heart.
Oh, yeah. Sorry about
season.
that. But hey, you guys made it to the postseason.
I know, so that was a surprise.
Exactly, because they were expecting the team to do it in like 2-3 years from now. So like to get it that quickly.
Quick turnaround.
Yeah, and in the new stadium, no less. Just let you all know that you are again standing here in Dodger Stadium, and we have not always been the Dodgers, and we haven't always been in Los Angeles either. Does anybody know where we got our start? That's correct, yeah, Brooklyn, New York, way back in 1890. Now, we were a baseball club before then, but we officially joined the National League that year, and we were known as the Brooklyn Baseball Club. Now, we did get some nicknames before we became the Dodgers. Does anybody know any of our past nicknames? Some of them were a little weird. One of the nicknames was the Bridegrooms, because one year most of the team was getting married and the rest of the team was basically the groomsmen for those weddings, so it just seemed appropriate to be called the Bridegrooms at the time. We had other nicknames like the Superbas. It was a traveling vaudeville show. The owner of that show, his last name was Ebbets. At the time, our owner, his last name was Ebbets. Now, they were not related to each other, but I guess they thought it would be funny if they both had the same name. We also had the name The Robins. At the time, our manager, his last name was Robinson, so we just took the O-N off. Robbins was the team name. But then in 1932, we became the Dodgers, because if you were making your way to Ebbets Field in Brooklyn, you would have to dodge the trolley cars that were outside of that stadium as you were going to the game as a fan. And if you were successful, you got to enjoy the game. If not, we won't talk about that. But that's how we got the name the Dodgers. We're the only team that is named after our fans, while other teams are named after, animals, articles of clothing, the mountain range near them, mythological creatures, things like that. We're named after our fans. But we made our way over here at the end of the 1957 season. Our owner at the time, his name was Walter O'Malley. He wanted to build a dome stadium in Brooklyn, New York, and they were not going to give him the property that he wanted. They were going to give him property in Queens, where they later built Shea Stadium, but he didn't want to move the team close to the airport. So he moved the team nearly as far from the airport as you could go, out here to Los Angeles. But he had to bring another team with him to the West Coast, because at the time the furthest team west was in Kansas City. So Walter O'Malley went to the owner of the Giants. They were already planning on leaving New York anyway. They had a farm team in Minnesota. They were going to relocate that farm team and probably be the Minneapolis Giants or something like that. But Walter O'Malley took the owner of the Giants on a helicopter ride over Candlestick Point in San Francisco, and then convinced him that that was a great place for baseball. But they later found out it was not the greatest place to have a baseball stadium, because it was always cold there. Fogs would roll in. They had many rained out games, and during an all-star game one time, a pitcher was blown off the mound because it was so windy. Now, he was a smaller guy, but even still, those are not the conditions that you want when you're playing baseball. You want beautiful, clear, sunny days, which unfortunately we do not have here today. But we have not had that many rained out games here at Dodger Stadium. Does anybody want to guess how many rainouts we've had here since 1962? 5. Well, we got more than 5. Not a lot more than 5. How many? 10. Well, we're going to go up a little more. 10. Okay. Add your number to his number.
18.
Oh wait, we went too much. 17, that's right. 17 rained-out games since 1962. So you can basically buy a ticket, 3-4 years in advance, and you'll probably see that game. Now we are the third oldest stadium in Major League Baseball, with the oldest being Fenway Park, where the Boston Red Sox play. They opened their doors in 1912. Now in 1914, they opened the doors to Wrigley Field, where the Chicago Cubs play. And as I mentioned, we've been open since 1962, but there's a large gap, as you can see, from second to third, because a lot of older stadiums have been destroyed, and now those teams are in newer stadiums. Now the fourth oldest stadium is the closest stadium to us, Angels Stadium. As a matter of fact, the Angels played here in our stadium while their stadium was being built. So technically, because of this, the first home pitcher to throw a no-hitter in Dodger Stadium was an Angels pitcher by the name of Bo Belensky. So if you're ever in a trivia game and they ask you that question, pay very close attention to that wording. Now let's check out the stadium quickly here. So I did mention that we are the third oldest, but we are the largest. We actually can hold 56,000 people here in Dodger Stadium. We can actually hold 6,000 in those pavilion seats alone out there, which were a last-minute addition to the stadium. Because originally in center field, we were going to have a fountain that was going to shoot water into the air and change colors every time somebody hit a home run. But they got rid of that idea because they thought that was going to maybe affect the batter's eye. So they added the pavilion seats so we can get a few more fans here in the stadium. But if you look at the seats in the stadium, they're not all Dodger blue, and we actually have a color scheme here based on what we believe is important about Southern California. Because when we first opened the doors here in 1962, we were kind of competing with Disneyland as another place you had to visit when you were coming to Southern California. So we wanted to give the seats a Southern California feel. So down on the field level, we have yellow seats, which represent the sun, which we usually have here in Southern California. And now on a sunny day, you might make your way to the beach, so the next level up, the loge section, has those sandy colored seats to represent our sandy beaches. Now when at the beach, there's a very good chance you might see some palm trees, so the next level up, the reserve section, it's a seafoam green that represents our palm trees, vegetation, and other plant life. And this top deck here is a light blue for where the ocean meets the sky, so that's why the seats are not Dodger blue. Now in the past we have had some blue seats, and we even had red seats and some dreaded orange seats, but at that point in time we were actually trying to make the stadium look like a rainbow. We've just gone back to our original color scheme now. But if you look at our stadium, it is symmetrical, so we can basically fold it in half and it mirrors itself on either side with the scoreboards, the advertising, the bars beyond the bullpens, and even our food stands past our pavilion seats help us keep it even on either side. Now if you go past our pavilion seats, we've got some plaques out there for those who have hit home runs past our pavilion seats. It has not happened too often. It's happened 5 times by 4 people, so somebody did it twice. One of those was actually Mark McGwire. Mark McGwire hit one right over there. The most recent one was Giancarlo Stanton. He nearly hit that State Farm sign right over there. And the only Dodger to have ever cleared our pavilion seats was Mike Piazza. Now, over behind the right field pavilion, we have 2 plaques for one guy, Willie Stargell. He actually hit one 507 feet, which is the furthest anyone has ever hit a home run here in Dodger Stadium. But our stadium, it gets used year-round. We don't just use it for baseball. We have other events here, other sporting events like hockey. We've had hockey here. We've had cricket here. We've even had soccer here. We have concerts done by artists like Paul McCartney, who's done it in the past, and he's doing it here in the future. And he also did it a long time ago when he was part of the Beatles. The Jacksons have been here, as well as the Rolling Stones. We've, of course, had Beyonce and Guns N' Roses. We also have a lot of filming that occurs here. Movies like Moneyball filmed here. Also Transformers. A Transformer fell into Dodger Stadium. And Superman Returns. Superman lowers an airplane into center field and leaves it there. And The Naked Gun. O.J. Simpson falls right off the top deck here. So this area has been used quite a bit for filming. Even our parking lot area has been used by the Fast and the Furious films. Now we are close to Hollywood because Walter O'Malley knew that if we were near Hollywood, stars would come here and fans would come to the games in hopes to see a star. Now it might be a little cloudy over here due to the fact that it's been raining, but we can usually, yeah, you can see it today. There's the Hollywood sign right over there on Mount Lee. You see the white letters there? Also from here we can see downtown Los Angeles, and on a clearer day you can see the San Gabriel Mountains, which will probably have snow when we see them again. But we're going to make our way into the stadium right now, so if you'll follow me right this way. We're going to make our way down to the club level next. It's also the executive level where the executive offices are located. So people like Tommy Lasorda and Magic Johnson have offices on this level, not the level we're getting off right now. Now on this level we also have the Vin Scully press box, which is where we're going to next. Now originally this level was going to be used for vehicles because when the team moved out here, drive-in movies were popular. So Walter O'Malley wanted the fans to drive their cars into the rail to watch the game that way, the fire marshal said. But we're going to next make our way here to the Vin Scully press box. Vin Scully was the announcer broadcaster for his smallest 67 seasons. His last season with us was 2016. But in 2000, when they were going to name the press box after him, he was against the idea because being a member of the media, he's supposed to remain neutral and not show favoritism for one team or another. But at this time, he had been with the team for over 50 years, and everyone knew who he was rooting for. So eventually, he said, "Okay, fine, you can name the press box after me." Now follow me right this way. Alright everybody, so here we are in the Vin Scully press box. Not a bad view for the press, right? Yeah. Now, if you're wondering where did Vin Scully sit, he didn't sit in the area that we are currently in. He actually sat on the other side of this white wall over here. That very first booth right over there, that was Vin Scully's booth, so he basically sat right behind home plate. That's now where you can find Joe Davis and Oral Hershiser, who now do the broadcasting for the Dodgers. But we also have other booths over there where you can find Jaime Jarrín, who does the Spanish broadcasting for the Dodgers and has been doing so for 60 seasons. This next season will be his 61st, so he is very close to the 67 that Vin Scully had. And then we also have over there Fernando Valenzuela, who also does Spanish broadcasting for the Dodgers, and also the away team's broadcasters will get a booth as well. Now, if you look on the same level that we're on, we have some multicolored seats over there, and those seats originally went all the way around this level when we first opened the doors back in 1962, and they were our most expensive seats at the time. Does anybody want to guess how expensive our most expensive seats were back in 1962?
Is that per game or season tickets?
Oh, just per game. Just one game right here.
$20?
Ooh, no. That's way too steep. $5.50. That's what it was. That was the most expensive seat back then. You could afford that, right? Now right behind those seats we have some glass over there. That's where we have the executive offices. But in front of those seats we have numbers and icons. Now the icons on the end there, those are microphones, and we've added to our Ring of Honor Vin Scully as well as Jaime Jarrín, because again they are in the Hall of Fame for being great broadcasters in their tenure, so we decided to add them also to the Ring of Honor there. But we also have those numbers, our retired numbers, and now it's time for today's pop quiz. Let's see who knows our retired numbers. We first have number 1 over there. All right, that's going to be Pee Wee Reese. He was the shortstop and captain for the team for quite a while in Brooklyn and a little while in Los Angeles, and has the most runs in Dodgers history. Number 2. Ooh, it's a good thing he's not here right now. He would be upset that we didn't know him. Tommy Lasorda, everyone. He was the manager for 20 years and took us to 2 World Series championships. Number 4 there is going to be Duke Snider, the Duke of Flatbush, who has the most home runs in Dodgers history. Now, our rule generally is for you to be on the Ring of Honor, you have to be in the Hall of Fame. But number 19 is an exception to that rule. That's Jim Gilliam. He was a player for us for 4 of our World Series championships and was also one of our base coaches as well. But he passed away suddenly before the 1978 World Series, so to pay tribute to him, we retired his number. Next, we've got number 20. This is the winningest pitcher in Dodgers history, Don Sutton. Number 24 is Walter Alston, who was the manager before Tommy Lasorda and signed 1-year contracts for 23 years. He felt if he was doing well, then rehire him. Number 32, that's right, Sandy Koufax, arguably the greatest left-handed pitcher, and he's thrown the only perfect game in Dodgers history. He also had 4 no-hitters. Number 39, this is going to be Campy, Roy Campanella, who has the most MVPs in Dodgers history. Next is the easy one, 42, Jackie Robinson, that's correct. very first African American to play Major League Baseball in the 20th century. Also, his number is retired throughout all of baseball, so that's why it's in offsetting colors. We're just trying to let you know that 42 can't be worn by anyone unless it's Jackie Robinson Day, when everyone in baseball is wearing 42. Next, we've got 53, and that's gonna be that's right, Don Drysdale. Big D, known for throwing 6 straight shutouts. Also, the guy who created Herbie the Love Bug really liked Don Drysdale, because that's how Herbie got 53. Now, on the other side here, just to keep things even, you're going to see the years that we won the World Series. The first one has a B in front of it because we were still in Brooklyn at the time. It took us 65 years to finally beat the Yankees, and we beat the Yankees that year in 7 games. Our next championship happened in Los Angeles, but we were not playing in Dodger Stadium yet. We were playing at the LA Coliseum where the Rams play football. Now, because we were playing at the Coliseum, we have record numbers for any World Series games as far as attendance is concerned, because we had 3 games with well over 90,000 people in attendance. In 1963, we were playing here in Dodger Stadium, and we actually swept the Yankees that year. It's the only time we've clinched the World Series championship in front of our home fans. The rest of the time we've been on the road. In 1965, we beat the Minnesota Twins in a pretty wild series. 1981, we beat the Yankees again. And then in 1988, we beat the Oakland Athletics thanks to Kirk Gibson's home run right over that right field wall to deflate the Bash Brothers. And we won in 5 games. Not the last time we've been to the World Series, but that was the last time we won. All right. Now, before we make our way over to a luxury suite, I'm going to point out this booth right over here immediately to our right. That's our Dodger Vision booth. Now, that booth controls our scoreboards, which you can clearly see the Dodgers logo on right now. It also controls the ribbons that go around the stadium that usually have advertising, but right now it says, "Welcome to Dodger Stadium." Also, right over there is where we control the music, and that's where you hear the announcing of the players. And we want to protect the equipment over there, and we do so by using bulletproof glass, so no foul balls are going to make their way to that area. As you notice, there is no protective glass here for the members of the media, so they have to protect themselves. All right, so we're now going to check out a luxury suite. Any questions before we head out? Yes, no, maybe. All right, well, follow me right this way.
They may come up now that we're forcing data.
All right, so right here in this area, you'll see how the team hat and the team name has been changing over the years. Now, again, we were the Brooklyn Superbas for a little while, then the Brooklyn Robins in 1914, 1932, the Brooklyn Dodgers, and then in 1958, the Los Angeles Dodgers. We haven't always worn Dodger blue. In 1937, our team colors were green and tan. And if you go online to find out why, there's really no information. But the very next year, we went back to Dodger blue. And that's the first year we had Dodgers in cursive, that script across the chest, and we've been keeping that logo around for over 80 years. But we also have 2 hats in 1999. We actually started the season with this hat here, but after opening day with Kevin Brown, he actually took the hats out to the bullpen and set them on fire because he didn't have a very good game. We then wore the hats again later, but then we didn't really keep up with them, so then we just kind of wore that hat over there. So if you follow me, we'll go to a luxury suite. Luxury suites here. This one's a standard size, which holds about 20 to 25 people in it. They have 4 televisions that you can see above your heads right here. Also, there's a TV right over here on this wall. The TVs here in the living room area, you can change the channels, but the television that's outside, that gives you a live feed of the game. You can't change that. Now, we also have a charging station for you right over here. Really, you just have to leave this area to use the restroom, because if you need more food, you can either call over here on the phone, or you can use the touchpad right there. Even if you need merchandise, if somebody hits a home run and you're like, hey, I need that jersey right now. Well, you can call, and they'll bring that jersey up here to you. Now, you might be wondering, how much does it cost to enjoy a game here? Well, this season, anywhere from $5,000 to $15,000 a game. Depends on who we're playing and when we're playing them and where your suite is located. So if we're playing the Yankees, which we will be this year, it's going to be closer to $15,000. Now, if we're playing a team like the Orioles on a Wednesday afternoon, it'll be closer to that $5,000 range. But that does not include the food. That only gives you parking passes and tickets to the game. The food is an extra expense because we don't know what you want to eat. If you want to have lobster, that will be more expensive than Dodger dogs. All right? Now, with all of our suites, though, you might want to hear the roar of the crowd and the crack of the bat, and to do so, you just have to open up this door right here. Hopefully it stays. And then slide these doors over. Indoor-outdoor field.
How far in advance do you have to book one if you're racing this week?
Well, you kind of have to do it, I would say probably at least about a week or two in advance, just to make sure. Because pretty much our suites are always pretty much sold out, but they're not company-owned suites except for a few of them. Like 3 suites are used year-round, but like the other 30 are available. Now, a lot of times they are booked in advance by some of these, different companies here because they do like, company outings and things of that nature. So, and we've even had, well, there is one Little League team that comes here all the time. It's one of the Beverly Hills Little League teams, so, they're fun. But again, like, I would say probably about a week would be safe. Now, if it's a game that you don't expect a lot of people to show up on, I mean, you can maybe order the suite that day, but, it just kind of depends on how popular the games are, because, like, the Giants are going to be a popular game, so it's going to be harder to get those suites, so you probably have to call a little in advance, but especially, or the Angels, definitely. But, teams that might be struggling, or we just don't care too much about, maybe like the Padres, you might be a little easier to get a suite. All right, perfect. So, if you follow me right this way, we'll be making our way back to some of that memorabilia that we walked by earlier. We'll go over here to our ticket stubs, which are pretty much a thing of the past, because now your ticket is going to either be something you print out at home or something that you have on your phone. Now, our very first ticket stub ever is this one right over here. And you can see it was just 25 cents to enjoy a game back in the 1800s. Now, our most recent one here is Clayton Kershaw's no-hitter. He was the 22nd no-hitter in Dodgers history, and he weighed 22, which is quite a coincidence. But we didn't just know he was going to do this. This is something we gave to the season ticket holders afterwards so they can remember this day. But again, these are all from important moments. When the Pope came here back in 1987, that was actually when we had the most people in our stadium at one time. We had a little over 63,000 people in attendance for Mass that day. And our Catholic friends probably want us to bring the Pope back because if you can see, the very next year, we won the Super Bowl, right? Or Super Bowl, the World Series. The Super Bowl just happened. We won the World Series. And we didn't win that one, poor LA. We at least got there. Now this one up here, September 24th of 1957, that was our very last day in Brooklyn. Now on this day, our organist, Gladys Gooding, she knew the team was going to be leaving Brooklyn even though we didn't make an official announcement. So what she decided to do was lock herself in the organ booth with a bottle of liquor and play nothing but funeral processions the whole game, which was confusing the fans because we were winning the whole time. They could not understand why she was doing this. But she's also the only organist I've ever heard of to be thrown out of a game. Apparently there was a game over at Ebbets Field and she was playing Three Blind Mice because the umps made a call she didn't like and she just kept playing it for so long that they looked up there and threw her out. Now right over here, this is our very first ticket stub from when we opened the doors to Dodger Stadium here in 1962. And you can see it was just $3.50 to sit on the field level back then. But right over here, you're going to get a chance to see a photo from that opening day. Here's the key to Dodger Stadium being presented to Walter O'Malley from Ford C. Frick, who was the commissioner of baseball at the time. The guy on this side is Warren Giles, president of the National League. Now we have the key on display and a mirror behind the keys so you can see the red letters that say Angels. So instead of having 2 keys for 2 ceremonies, just flip the key over and continue. Now we also have over here this Dodgers sign, which was actually used at the Coliseum because nothing at the Coliseum said Dodgers, so we had to have something in the background for our interviews. And this is an artist's rendition of what the stadium was originally going to look like. So there's that fountain that I mentioned earlier. They get no pavilion seats. And at the top deck parking where we met, actually date back to the 1940s, and you can still faintly see where it says Brooklyn on some of these travel trunks. These were used when we were traveling by train and by bus, but when we started flying coast to coast, we needed to start phasing these out. But they made their way out here to LA while we were playing at the Coliseum. Now the Coliseum was built to get a big thing like football there. It was not the greatest place for baseball. It was 250 feet out to the left field wall. To make things a little bit more difficult, we built a screen 40 feet tall, just to make it a little harder for people to hit home runs here over the left field wall. But we overcompensated some of right field. Some of right field went out to about 450 feet. But it was also rough for fans over here that were about 800 feet away from home plate. They could hardly see anything. But also while we were at the Coliseum, we had Roy Campanella night. Campy was a 3-time MVP for us in Brooklyn, but never got a chance to play in Los Angeles because in January of 1958, he was in a car crash that left him paralyzed from the neck down. So in 1959, we had Roy Campanella night where we turned off all of the lights in the Coliseum and everybody either lit up a candle or turned on a flashlight to pay tribute to him. And the money for this game went to help pay for a lot of his hospital expenses. Campy was on our very first championship team in 1955. As a matter of fact, most of our retired numbers were on this team here, all but the two Dons, Don Sutton and Don Drysdale. Now, if you look at this photo, you're not going to find Tommy Lasorda anywhere because Tommy Lasorda was on this team, but we had to send him down so that we could bring up Sandy Koufax. So Tommy Lasorda will say it takes the greatest pitcher in history for him to be sent down. Now, right over here, this is some of our more recent postseason success. 2017, we made it to the World Series by beating the Chicago Cubs in the National League Championship Series. Maybe we will have a new display for when we beat the Brewers this last year. Speaking of the Brewers, though, this little locker over here is from when we got 21 runs against the Brewers this year, and we hit for the home run cycle, meaning we hit a 1-run home run, a 2-run home run, a 3-run home run, and a grand slam as a team. Now, no player in MLB history has ever done it, except for one guy in Double-A. I think his name was Tyrone Horn, and he hit for the cycle one day, but he never made it to the pros. Now, we have other lockers right over here. These were lockers used by the players from 1962 until 2012. These were the lockers for the players, but we gave them a new clubhouse in 2013, so we didn't need to keep these lockers. But each locker is now decorated for what a locker might have looked like during a different decade in the stadium. So the first one is the 1960s. This is the 70s. We put the 80s and 90s together, and this is the 2000s. Some stuff from last year's game. That's Chris Taylor's hat right there, and that's Clayton Kershaw's jersey from last season's game. Now, we are close to Hollywood, as I mentioned earlier. We do even have a star on the Walk of Fame. But again, stars that we see is like Frank Sinatra. These are actually some of his seats here when he was a season ticket holder. The Sinatra family are still season ticket holders now, but these are just some of the old seats. We have new seats now. They probably don't have a plaque on them though. Now this is the old bullpen buggy right here. This is one of the laziest things in sports history. This is how the relief pitcher would make their way to the mound during the 60s and 70s like they could not walk 200 feet. But they started to phase this out when they realized that if you're warming up in the bullpen, you're cooling down while you're sitting in the car, you're not really ready to go again when you get back to the mound. One team brought this back, the Arizona Diamondbacks, and I think the only person who sat in it got just destroyed on the mound afterwards, and I don't think anybody else got in it after that. Right over here, you'll get a chance to see some of the stuff from Vin Scully's final days with the team, like the last headset he ever wore broadcasting a game. And then there's also a photo right over there of him receiving the Medal of Freedom Award from President Barack Obama, which is the highest award a civilian can receive from the president. And then we also have this Scully 67, which was presented to him on opening day in 2016, and they had a lot of the Dodger greats sign that jersey and presented it to Vince Scully, but then he donated it to the stadium so fans can see it. And then that base over there is something that we stole from Target Field when we got to win number 10,000. We were the 4th team in MLB history to hit that milestone. The first team was the Giants, so we won't talk any more about that. So next we're going to make our way downstairs. I'll let you grab some photos and we're going to now see some of the players. So we're going to go down to the first level and see the Players Awards down in the Ooh and Ah room, or the Bling room, officially the awards room. But this is what the players will be seeing as they make their way to the clubhouse. It's supposed to be quite inspirational. Here we go. So down here in the awards room, if you look on this side, you'll see our Gold Glove Awards, which are given out each year for excellence in defense. MLB gives out 18, 9 for the National League, 9 for the American League, and 1 for each position. Over the years, the Dodgers have won 44 Gold Gloves, and we have won one on every position on the field except for third base. No third baseman has won a Gold Glove yet as a Dodger. But the players won the most as a Dodger is Wes Parker, who won 6 Gold Gloves for us at first base. And the player who's won the most in history is Greg Maddux. Now, he only won 2 with us as a Dodger, but he won 18 in his 23 years of playing Major League Baseball. Now, over here on the other side, we've got our MVP, Most Valuable Player Award, the highest award an individual can win in Major League Baseball. Over the years, the Dodgers have won 13 MVPs, and our most recent one was won by Clayton Kershaw in 2014, making him the 4th Dodgers pitcher to win the MVP, the others being Sandy Koufax, Don Newcomb, and then Arthur Dazzy Vance. On the side with Arthur Dazzy Vance, you'll also see the one that Jackie Robinson won back in 1949, and then you'll also see the 3 that Roy Campanella won. Now, all of the awards you will see are replicas, except these awards right here, the World Series trophy case. Now, we have won the World Series 6 times, but we only have 2 trophies on display. And what happened to our other trophies? Why are we missing 4 trophies? Do you know?
You didn't get them?
We didn't get them. That's right, because they didn't make them. Before 1967, if you won the World Series, this bat was your trophy. They put world champions on that bat, and that's how people knew you won the World Series. But after the first Super Bowl, the commissioner of baseball thought, maybe we should have a trophy too, and that's when they designed the commissioner's trophy. Now, your 2 shortest flags on the trophy, that's going to be the 2 teams that were in the World Series. The flags closest to them are the teams they had to beat to get there, and then after that, they put the flags in at random. Now, these trophies, are currently made by Tiffany's and Company. Even though there's no diamonds in the actual trophy. I checked that out yesterday.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I looked it up. But they put diamonds in the rings based on like accomplishments for that team that year. So for when the Astros won, all of their regular season victories were diamonds, and then all of their postseason victories were other diamonds around the top. So it's crazy what they do. So the more victories, the more diamonds. I try hard to win all 162, and then this thing is going to be shiny. So right over here on this side, we have the Cy Young Awards given out for excellence in pitching. We've won more Cy Youngs than any other team in Major League Baseball. We have won 12, and 6 of them have been won by 2 different guys. 3 have been won by Sandy Koufax, and the other 3 by Clayton Kershaw. And we got a lot of firsts on the wall because the first person to ever win this was Don Newcomb in 1956. We also have the first person to ever win 2 of these was Sandy Koufax. He was also the first to win consecutive, and he was the first ever to win 3 of these. Now, we also have on this wall Mike Marshall, the very first relief pitcher to ever win a Cy Young, and we have Fernando Valenzuela, to this day, the first and only rookie to ever win the Cy Young. So he won the Cy Young, he won a Rookie of the Year, He won a Silver Slugger, and he helped us win the World Series, and he was only 20 years old at the time. Now, I mentioned that Sandy and Clayton both have 3, but there's a little difference in the awards, because Sandy says the most valuable pitcher. Because before 1967, if you won this award, you had to be the best pitcher in all of baseball. But after 1967, they decided to give out one for the American League and one for the National League. So that's why this now says the Outstanding National League Pitcher. We also have the Trevor Hoffman Award on display here too for Kenley Jansen, who has won it twice. They've actually only been giving out this award since 2014, so he's won 2 out of the 5 years he could win this, which isn't bad, but this is given out for being the best reliever in your league. Now on this side, you've got our Rookie of the Year award. We have won more Bs than any other team with 18. The closest team to us are the Yankees, who have won 9. Now the very first person to win this award, who do you think was the first person to win this award?
Jackie Robinson.
Yeah, you were right. Jackie Robinson was right. In 1947, Jackie Robinson won this award, and then 40 years later, they renamed it the Jackie Robinson Award. That's what it's known as today. Now, also, Jackie Robinson was the first to win one of these. It's the Silver Bat Award. No longer called the Silver Bat Award. If you win it in the National League, it's the Tony Gwynn Award. In the American League, it's the Rod Carew Award. It's still the same award. It's the batting title award for having the best batting average in your league. Jackie Robinson got his in 1949, and Carl Furillo, the only other Brooklyn Dodger to do it, got it in 1953. But the only person to do it as an LA Dodger was Tommy Davis, and he did it in 1962 and then again in 1963. We also have the Manager of the Year award on display, and the first person to win that was Tommy Lasorda in 1983. That was the first year they gave out the award. He then won it again in 88, and then Dave Roberts won it in 2016, his rookie year as the manager. But we also have our Silver Sluggers on display. These are the opposite of the Gold Glove. So instead of excellence in defense, this will be excellence in offense in the different positions. Now, the player who's won the most as a Dodger is going to be Mike Piazza. He won 5 with us and won 10 in his career, only second to, well, a guy we don't mention here because he played for the Giants. But anyway, we also have here our Hall of Fame walkway. So you're going to get a chance to see our Hall of Famers with their Cooperstown plaques. With some of them, you'll get a chance to see their contracts, and you can see how much they were getting paid at the time. Here we have some more of our Hall of Famers. Some of them are players that would be over there, except they played before numbers were on jerseys. So Dazzy Vance and Zach Lee, we just don't have a number to retire for them. We also have over here Branch Rickey, a past owner of ours. As a matter of fact, he is the reason why Jackie Robinson was introduced into Major League Baseball. He's also the reason why our farm system is set up the way it is right now. We also have over there Walter O'Malley, the owner that brought us out here to Los Angeles. But I love pointing out this guy here, Grimes, who's in the Hall of Fame for being a great spitball pitcher, something made illegal in 1920. But if you threw the spitball before they made it illegal, you could still throw it, and he was the last player legally allowed to throw the spitball. I know he's not the last one who ever did. Yeah. But when we turn the corner here, we've got a little timeline, a little history of the Dodgers from 1890 until 2000. You see when we had 5 Rookie of the Years in a row. One of them, they'll look up where he is right now. Now, all the baseballs that you see, those represent no-hitters, and the ovals will be championships, being either the World Series championship or the National League championship. There's our stadium in Brooklyn, everybody. That's Ebbets Field, basically the reason why we were called the Dodgers, home for the team from 1913 until 1957. And then this is our very first official team back in 1890. Look at those mustaches, huh? And they even wore ties. I would never play baseball wearing a tie. All right, everybody. so again, we're going to be making our way into the team dugout. It's currently raining, so again, we're not going to be able to go onto the field, but you can walk up to the top of the stairs to take your photos if you like, okay? So follow me right this way.
Yes, exactly what that is. I know.
여기 안 되는 거
In the last 2 years.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's really frustrating, right? You
All
can't
right,
get it.
everybody. So come on in. Sam will take another photo of you down here.
So this is where we're gonna get. Yes. No, I have. Yeah. No, it's not free. One for 20 or two for 30? Yeah, it's a printer. You just have help him. If you look, there's duct tape where they hit it, remember? Ready? 1, 2, and 3. Perfect. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Come on over, guys. We'll go away.
The seats that are right next to us that are covered up, those seats right there immediately next to us, that's the owner's box right there. So that's kind of where, you know, Magic and Tommy Lasorda will be hanging out to watch the game. Those seats are part of the Lexus Dugout Club, which is a restaurant located kind of under the field level where you'll have unlimited food and drink as long as the drink is non-alcoholic. But the price to sit there is anywhere from $500 to $1,200 a game, so it's not that cheap.
What are like
Ones
these
with black
for?
black
Well,
covers.
that's for their, yeah, the ones with the black covers right over there. Yeah, that's the other side. But that stuff right there is for their helmets and their bats, my friend. So they put the bats down there and the helmets go up there. And then also the reason why the team has chosen the third base side to be the home side is because of the sun, which is surprisingly coming out right now. But as the sun starts to set, it's going to move right over here, then sending hot rays to this side. So we would rather the away team be sunburnt, dehydrated, and uncomfortable while we're sitting pretty in the shade. So that's why we're on the third base side. All right. So I'll let you grab your last photos, and then we'll make our way back into the stadium. Of course, when it's nice and warm and beautiful. All right, so we're going to make our way back to the top where it all began. Since you've taken the tour, if you'd like to make your way over to the team store, you'll get 10% off. Now, the team store is normally at the top, but we have moved it to behind the left field pavilion. So you might want to get in your vehicles and drive over to parking lot G, as in great, and that's where you can find the store, okay? If you don't have a vehicle here with you, you'll just leave and walk down the stairs. You'll pass the Jackie Robinson statue. You'll keep going down the stairs, and then you'll be there, okay? All right, perfect.
Is G that way?
G is to the right.
Wow, what are you doing here? Everybody for the same reason?
Oh, no, they're here for the tour.